Good afternoon and welcome to the May 2025 Autism and Face Yoga Live. So once again, good afternoon and welcome to the May 2025 Autism and Face Yoga Live. It's wonderful to see all of you again. An introduction to those who have joined us for the first time. This is a monthly series of autism and face yoga. We explore, we experience, and participate in new learnings from different facets. We endeavor to invite guests who will share their experiences and expertise. So let's start. Yes. So let's start with the face yoga. Yes. So what do? We first smile because we're happy. Yeah. Then we're going to pull the corner of this mouth and make it touch your right ear, the corner of the left lip, let it touch your left ear when we say yes. So what do? We get ready, breathe, and yes. You guys are good. You always are. So again, let's do it better. Breathe. Yes. Very good. One more time. We're going to start this session. We have a very interesting guest, an impressive young man, and he's already there. You can see the purple. I'll introduce him a little later. And thumbs up for you, Gage. Okay, get ready. Breathe. And yes. And relax. There are some of us who may need a little assistance. So what do? Take your fingers or their fingers, place them on the corners of the mouth, ask them to breathe and say yes. And I want you to gently stretch the corners, stretch, and hold that position. Okay, so corners of the mouth, place their fingers, breathe in and ask them to say yes as you stretch the muscle and hold, and relax. Good job done. Let's try it one more time. Okay, they're going to say yes. Place their fingers at the corners of their mouth. And what do? We say yes. And relax. Good job. Very good job. Ayana Face Yoga are a series of exercises for all on the autism spectrum, caregivers, family, and friends. These are scientifically standardized exercises using the 57 facial muscles of the face, the neck, and the scalp. Your facial muscles. And it's non-invasive. During the session, we are together going to participate in the face yoga capsule. And all you need is your 57 muscles, right? So let's start. Let's start the capsule. I want you to just start by stimulating the muscles and the skin by just tapping, okay? Just tap the cheek, tap the chin, tap the jawline, side, forehead, around the eyes, and the scalp, okay? Yes, can we start? Of course. So what we're going to do first is we are going to open our mouths and just form a long O and hold. And relax. Tap. Tap the mouth. Again. Open your mouth. a nice oval O. And relax. Tap, tap your mouth. Very good. Yes, that stimulates. Okay. So, welcome once again. My name is Minal Potnis. For those who have just joined us, I'm an evangelist of the New Age technique for wellness. At Ayana Wellness, we have reinvented face yoga for rehabilitation, mental health, anti-aging, stress, and augmented it for neurorehabilitation or neuroconditions. So we're going to continue with our face yoga capsule before we meet our guests. I want you to open your mouth one more time. If somebody needs help, ask him to just open his mouth and hold it for them. And hold. Yeah, very good. 1, 2, very good. 3, 4, and relax. 5. Tap, tap, tap. Now it's going to get a little harder, right? Yeah, it always is the second one. This time, I want you to fold your lips over your teeth. Open your mouth bud and make a nice O. And relax. And try it one more time. Relax. So, fold your lips and make a O. Oh. Remember Donald Duck? Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And relax. You deserve to tap. Yeah. So we're working on the orbicular oris, the round muscles of your mouth. Okay. One more time. Perfect. So fold your lips in. Make a long O. Open your mouth a little more. Open it. Yeah. And hold. 1. Very good. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. And relax. Tap. Tap around your mouth. Tap on your cheeks. Both sides. Tap on your chin. Tap on your jawline. Perfect. Perfect. Good. Now, we're going to do the 3 O's. What are the 3 O's? O, a little wider. O and Y. O. So, exactly. Tap. So, we're going to have a small O, a little slightly bigger O, and a slightly bigger O. So, again, get ready. Breathe in. O. 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 And relax. And what do we do? Tap. Tap, 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 tap. On your chin, chin, chin. Excellent, excellent. Round on your eyes, forehead, tap of your head, ears, under. Yes, that's good. How do we say yes? We say yes. Stretch it, stretch it, stretch. That's the fun part about face yoga, right? We can throw in the yeses, we can throw in the O's, we can even do a couple of I's, so much more. Okay, let's continue. I want you to clench your teeth. Very simple. Just clench. Hold. 1, clench. 2, clench. 3, clench. 4, clench. 5, feel it here. 6, clench. 7, harder. 8, clench. 9, and relax. And what do? We tap. We tap. Feel the jawline. Feel the chin. Around your mouth. On your chin. Here. Excellent. Excellent. Good job. And let's do the rain dance. Good job. Okay. Let's do this properly. Let's do it right. Clench your teeth and stretch. Close your mouth, clench your teeth, stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, clench. 7, 8, 9, 10, and relax. Fantastic. You guys are so good. Come on. Clench. No, not clench. Just hold. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is little slight tweak. I want you to fold your lips. You know how to fold them? How do you fold them? Simple, simple. But I want you to stretch and make it into a yes. So, how you do? Yeah. And relax, relax. Just tap. Let's get it right. Can you feel? Can you feel? I think all of us can. So what I want you to do now, hold your lips. A nice stir. And get ready, and pull. Yeah. And 1, hold. 2, 3, very good. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and relax. Good job. Excellent. You deserve it. Okay. Now, what I want to do is eyes, look up to the ceiling, just relax, start looking up, hold the position, look up, stretch, stretch. Very good. You're doing excellent. And relax. And if you don't have eyewear, tap your eyes. Otherwise, just tap around your face. That's okay. You can leave that on. That's fine. That's fine. If somebody's wearing eyewear, that's okay. That's okay. But ideally, this is what you tap around the orbicular oculi. Okay? The round muscles of your eye. Good job. Okay. Now, slight twist. I want you to say yes. We'll do it together. So, yes. Come on. We're all good. Yes. That's the face yoga way. Get up, America. And good evening, the rest of the world. Okay. And so now the twist. What's a twist? There's always a twist. So I want you to look up and yes. That's the way we're going to do it. Okay. Get ready. Get ready. Look up and get ready. Yes. And relax. Good job. Clap for yourselves. Good job. But you forgot to tap. We forgot to tap, and that's not what we do. We're going to tap, 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 and that's the way it is. Great. So with that, we're going to wind up our face yoga session because we have an interesting guest. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing a remarkable young man, Gage Kern. There he is right in front of you. He's nice, bright, and vibrant. So Gage is someone who stands out not just for who he is, but for the perspective he brings. He's on the spectrum himself, and I first met him, like many of you, at ICANN 25. I remember hearing him speak and being genuinely impressed. Gage is an advocate and a thoughtful podcaster. What makes him special is his ability to grasp topics and present them in a way that feels both personal and powerful. He looks at autism from different angles, and each of those perspectives echoes something deeply meaningful. The power of autism. Today, Gage will share a rarely heard perspective. He'll take us through his childhood and the journey that led him to the start of his podcast. Welcome, Gage, And let me start you rolling with the 3 questions you're going to touch on. The first one, my childhood growing with autism and what were benefits and challenges. The second one is, how did my podcast start? And lastly, how can schools help those with um, autism thrive instead of the way it's currently? So I'm going to hand over the platform to you, Gage. Welcome and over and out.
Well, I gotta say, for one thing, I think that's like my favorite intro I've heard so far. And it is such a pleasure to be here. Yeah, my journey has definitely been very interesting. Even at a young age, I showed, like my parents said they saw early signs of high intelligence. Like even when I was trying to get to like my favorite foods or anything, I'll build boxes against the counter table, and I was very like good at puzzles, like advanced puzzles beyond my what I was currently. I was like 3 or 4 at the time, and I was nonverbal till I was like 5 because I didn't speak until then, and I didn't know I was autistic until I was way later on, until I was like 13, 14, and my parents my dad wasn't fully on board with me being autistic, as at that point, this was back like in 2005, so there was a lot of information, and at that point, it was not, no one knew really what it was, and it wasn't looked at as a great thing, So my dad didn't want me to feel left out or not have a full, like, really live a full life, you know, of like whatever people would have. And so my parents decided not to tell me, because they didn't want me to feel different than everyone else or feel left out. And my experience of that ended up happening anyway. I end up getting like speech therapy because I have you buy those that really are good at listening. You can kind of hear the little speech impediment in my when I talk. I do have a little bit of a difficult time with speech, but it has gotten a lot better over time. And so my parents got me like speech therapists early on in life, and that really went on until I was like probably like in middle school. And growing up, I never really understood why I felt differently, or why kids treat me completely differently, or why teachers treated me differently. Even I got to special needs probably like right around 5th grade, and that's when things really started to make a turn. I at this point in life, I was for those that are in the United States, I was in Pennsylvania, which is kind of like a very farm type of place, like very small, and their educational system definitely isn't great. And I end up going to job sites. So it had to go better. So I was end up going to like job sites like cleaning up trash for Walmart, and even going to this park to help clean up. And that was like 2 or 3 times a week. And that did not very, yeah, like I get what they're trying to do. Like it was trying to create like life skills, but it took away from my education, and also it made me question things even more, like what the hell is going on, like why am I going for all this? I highly like no other kids are doing this, so like what is going on, and it was very difficult, it was I because you feel very like alone and isolated at that point, and at that point in my personal life as well, it was very difficult because my parents were at that point, it was going for divorce, and my childhood kind of was chaotic at that point. My parents did the best they could, but they were having a hard time in their relationship, and so I didn't really have like a safe space in between. Like home life is kind of chaotic, and then school life, I'm going to job sites, and I'm like having all these questions in my head, like what is really going on? Like what, where am I? Like, is this normal? Because this doesn't seem like normal, and then it only continued from there. Like then I went to a different school the next year, because my dad found out about me cleaning up trash from Walmart, which he protested heavily against. And then I went to a different school, but I didn't really get any much better because I ended up going to job sites anyway. But actually, I think it only doubled down. Like then I started cleaning up cafeteria tables, and the between periods, I would dust the locker room or the lockers, there in the alongside the hallway, and then I would and yeah, just like a lot of job sites like that, I end up cleaning laundromat, and then at the end of the year was a pizza party, and me, I know me and my, I was close to, I don't talk to him much anymore, but I had a close friend in my special needs class, and we're both at this point we're kind of like rebelling. We're like, this is kind of bullshit, dude. Like, why are we doing all this work? Like, when everyone else is going to classes and things like that, and we only had like free record classes with other kids, that weren't autistic or in a special needs class, and that was like gym and like science and history for me. And it was and a lot of kids at that in the classroom looked up to me, and it was just a lot of pressure at that age. You know, it was and it was just a lot to navigate. You know, it was like at home I couldn't really like, I had a hard time opening up because I at that point, how I felt was I felt very empathetic for my parents because they how they grew up was very difficult, and I didn't want to put any more pressure on them. You know, even that age, I had a lot of empathy. You know, it wasn't as a kid. You know, it's always a struggle with that, but you know, at that age, I even was like, I didn't want to be a burden to them. You know, I got to figure this out on my own, and so even in school, I didn't like to ask for help because I felt like I was dumb or stupid if I did that. And that was like my mindset. Like I always had to prove myself, and I've let myself down every time, you know, because I was thinking I could do exactly what other people do, which I can. Now I can, but at that age I didn't have the help or the guidance, and it just didn't go very well for me, you know, and for me, I was always trying to prove myself in different ways, and there's a lot of areas I was good at. Like I was advanced for where I was at, and I also played football at that age too. Like I was going, like after school, I was playing football and things like that. Which you know, if you guys saw my podcast, I at one point I was very like big into it. So it was a big passion of mine. Like I remember going to the library and like just reading all these books. I remember my teacher was like, "Gage, don't you want to read anything besides football?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm good. I think I'll just keep reading this. Like there's so many books of football, I can just keep going."
But
That was
how long did it take you to read a book, for example? So was it fast reading, or did it take you time to take it in? How was that? That's something that was quite I'd like to know.
reading actually. Reading wasn't bad for me. Like I learned early on at a young age. Like I had, like I said, I had a therapist that sometimes while I was in school, they would take me away and, you know, just talk with me, and she taught me a little bit as well with reading. And reading actually wasn't hard for me. I kind of, it clicked on early on. So it just felt like second nature at that point, you know, and I learned a lot from watching TV shows and and read my favorite books. I learned quickly on how to like read pretty good, and how I learned different words and opening my vocabulary was like watching movies or TV shows because I was like in my mind I was like I wanted to impress people, you know. That was because I built kind of an ego and a shield, so I wanted to always improve myself and to show one that I was normal. You know, at that point, I didn't know about autism, but I knew I wasn't exactly normal at all either. You know, and I wanted to prove myself, and that was a bit of a double-edged sword. You know, like I did learn a lot, but also it hurt a lot. There's a lot of pain that came with that because obviously no matter what I did, and I did not see me as that. And I was even at that age, I was getting bullied, you know. So it was a lot of transitions, a lot of difficulties, and but a lot of beautiful things as well. Like I was able to connect with a lot of awesome people in my class, especially. Um, and once I got to high school, that's when a lot of things really transitioned, and some good, some not very good. So when I was 15, that's when I found out. That's when the teachers, it was like the first class. It was my freshman year, and I forget. I don't really remember the whole speech, but I remember one word that came out, and it literally changed my whole world. It was one of the most casual speeches, but it was like it rocked my world. You know, it was you're autistic. I was like, what? Like that's not right. And I don't like I would have heard about this at one point. Like that's not true. And until my mother confirmed it when I got home, because I was like, what the I yeah, nah, this I was like, damn, this is not what I want, and I looked at it as a bad thing. I was like, this is no way that I've got this. I always felt like it was like not like I got that sentence with a sickness. You know, obviously it's not true now, but at that time that's what I believed. You know, and it only then I kind of went a heavily victim mindset, and I really I ignored it for a long time, but it was always in the back of my mind like you're autistic, you're not good enough, like you never will be, and no one will truly accept you for who you are.
And how did you bring
Um,
yourself out? How did you bring yourself out?
Not until much later. Not until much later. Like one thing that kept me anchored though, through it all, really was my two older brothers, um, Hunter and T. Well, his name was Trevor, but we always called him T. Um, they really kept me anchored. Because my parents, they weren't mentally there really. They did the best thing they knew how to, but they didn't have the greatest examples of role models as parents, you know. So they couldn't really be there in a super supportive role. My mother, she did a lot, you know, like she would do paperwork, she went to meetings, but she had a really hard time being kind of supportive role I needed. But I knew without a doubt she did literally the best she knew how to, and she was still navigating her divorce, like divorced my father, and so there was a time I was mad at her for a very long time, but being older, I can see where it could have been difficult for her and how she grew up. That's why I didn't resent her or anything like that. It was because I understood to a standpoint, you know, to what she was going through.
Right. So now, how did you get into the podcasting world, and
The
when?
podcasting world,
How did it call you?
I started a long time ago. Well, I guess it's not that long, but to me it feels like ages ago. 5 years ago, or it's almost 6 years ago now. It didn't start out football, not autism, none of that. It started out. I watched this TV show because it was a game I played on the PlayStation, and I was like, "There's a show," and then I watched it. I was like, "Man, I gotta talk about this. Like, I didn't want to share with other people. I gotta talk about this." So I made a video talking about it, and this is me at 3 a.m. making a video tired as hell, you could tell. And it was like it was like only a couple minutes, but that's when really it started, and then it eventually led to sports for a few years, and then before I get to that, I'm gonna this is when the shift really happened with that. And I'm gonna get real a little bit here. I was suicidal at one point. You know, when I was 20, and when I was 20, I was in not in the best environment in Maryland. I was right out of high school. Because I didn't graduate until I was 19. That took like a little bit of a year period, and I'm glad I did because I needed that. A lot of realizations and insights came through then, and being kind of, and that was during the pandemic, so I had to kind of face myself, you know, and then he was my best friend also, but like my second older brother, he passed away. He overdosed. He had a problem with opiates, and then that addiction came back, and he didn't make it through. So that was a shock into my mind, and even before that, if it weren't for my brother, I don't think I would be here. Actually, I know I wouldn't be here. So I ended up talking to him because I saw this show, 13 Reasons Why, and it gave me insights of how her, because she ended up ending her life, and it showed me like how it affect those around her. And I was like, and I saw she didn't really give herself a chance. So I was like, you know, no, if I'm going to do this, I need to give myself the best chance. You know, if I'm really going to make this kind of decision. And I ended up talking to my brother, and I'm super grateful I did because um he saved me. You know, his perspective and how he told me how like how much everyone met, how much I meant to everybody, and how much I altered their lives. You know, even just being there was what really changed my perspective and really gave me a reason to really keep going. And I made a decision, you know, then and there, I made a decision to truly live life how I on my own terms. You know, whatever, not what everyone else said, not like, oh, let's hope if you can get a local college or, you know, maybe like a low end job. It's like if I'm gonna live life, that's not the life I want. It's not very high quality life. You know, it's not really a life to look forward to. It's one that just exists in. Um, and then I started asking for help. My brother gave me a lot of great resources. I started listening to a life coach, Tony Robbins, on YouTube. I started doing meditation. I did a lot of guided ones at that point because I didn't know about much about meditation at all. But I remember watching TV shows of like these wise monks and leaders and Karate Kid. I was like, I forget his sensei, but I was like, that is really cool. This seems very peaceful, has a lot of just tranquility. And so I started meditating. That was kind of vision I had in my mind. I wanted to have that, you know, that kind of contentment and peace. And so I started doing that for months, and I started working out for the first time. My brother, I talked this about my speech, but my brother kind of threw me in the P90X, which is this high intensity workout program. And he's like, "You're gonna do this whole thing, and you're not gonna leave until you're done." And we did the 50. He did the 15-minute workout with me, and I was already dripping sweat. I was like, is this the workout?" He's like, "Nope, you still haven't done the workout yet."
So he pushed you in a positive way forward, and you sort of took all that in and went forward yourself. That
Yeah, because I was in the kind of like this is gonna be like my training grounds, like in the movies where you see someone like go for intensity training and where they really like that's when their character kind of really takes off, where they it's their peak of when they really get strong. That's kind of how I looked at it, and then I was just like, okay, whatever it throws at me, I'm just gonna do, you know, as much as I can until I let it drop to the ground.
right.
Um, so that was like 30 minutes of a workout, and it's like high pace, and it completely kicked my ass. I'm not even gonna like if you saw me, you big man, this dude did that. It really kicked my ass, but I felt great. I was like, holy shit, I worked out because I didn't believe I had the ability to work out. Because even back in my schooling days, I had the belief I couldn't work out. I wasn't good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm dumb. All these kind of negative cantations built up in my head and beliefs. And that was the first crack. I was like, holy shit, I did it. I worked out and I did one of the hardest workout programs to say, and I started doing that every day, and this program had like a little schedule of like different workouts to do each day. And after a couple months, and this is after 2 weeks of this, that's when I found out my best friend and brother passed away. And that was, and I had a decision to make. I could either go back to what I was before all this, before these 2 weeks, and make a decision to end my life, or I could honor his life. And what came to my mind, it was almost like I could hear his voice, like, Gage, I wouldn't want you to do this. I would want you to live your life. And so I decided to honor his life alongside mine.
Wonderful.
So every step I take is for him.
Wonderful. So, Gage, we've got about 3 minutes left, and you want to wrap it up with what do you think schools could do to help those on the autism spectrum thrive in school?
First things, meditation. Like, because what schools should do, it's not just about math problems or any of that, and life skills are good, but there needs to be a balance. Like, it shouldn't be like all in all the time. Like, I think those are good to build, but there's different ways of doing it. So meditation is a wonderful skill. It's helped cure my depression and my anxiety. Like, every time I feel anxiety, I just do a meditation. I do some breathing techniques. It's gone. And I'm able to socialize more. I'm able to be in loud environments. So it's find a balance of, teaching the ones in special needs or autism, really real skills are going to take in that really can help them long-term wise, and really giving them the best advantage, instead of really, I think there needs to be less job sites. I just, like, personally, it's only going to isolate them more from those that are non-typical, and I think there needs to be a kind of a connection there and teaching them how to connect. So I don't believe in really like kind of isolating them completely from everyone else, but really giving them tools to be able to connect with other people and to handle those like overstimulating situations.
Okay, wonderful. Sorry, go ahead. You got another minute.
Oh, no. So yeah, that's not my perspective of schooling, and from someone that went through all that, meditation honestly was life changing, and I highly recommend it.
Okay, so I'm going to just add, you know what, we talked about it, and we continue the speech face yoga for speech, for toning and tightening your inner muscles. I think the next time you come on my session, it'll be a more articulate, even deeper. You're good, but that would definitely work out. You'll have to do the 30-minute workout on face yoga with me, but that's the only difference. Yeah, which I think you will. So, okay, with that, I want to take this moment to say, Gage, I wish you the very best. And I truly hope to see you into a steady, fulfilling role in the workforce, of course, but one that's not one that not only sustains you, but allows your uniqueness to expand, inspire, and lead. So with that, I'm going to say thank you so much for coming and sharing your childhood, your whole flow, and your positivity. Yeah. With
Well, I'm
that,
grateful to be on, and I'm grateful to share my energy and my perspective.
so with
So
that,
I'm grateful for the platform and to
wonderful,
speak. So I'm truly
wonderful,
grateful.
wonderful. So with that, namaste. We're gonna see you later. Goodbye. Yeah.
Yeah, have a beautiful day, and all right, let's do this.